Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good afternoon and good evening, depending on where you are. Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Ahmed Khalil, and I'm a volunteer at Embedded Meetup community, which is a non-profit professional community which aims to connect professionals and hubs working in the embedded systems field. Today, we are honored to have Ayman Bazaraa as a speaker. Mr. Bazaraa is an entrepreneur and a co-founder of a number of companies, Sprints, Avelabs, and MicroDoers, which are working in different technology fields. He likes to introduce himself as a curious learner. Uh, we would like to go through a quick journey of the last 3 years of his plus 17 years experience as a software engineer, manager, and entrepreneur. And we want to know how he foresees the future of sprints and the tech in the Middle East, North Africa region, and of course Egypt. Um, just a quick introduction that Sprints was founded in 2019 as a company to bridge the tech gap between youth and the market needs. And since that date, it managed to reshape the reality of the tech in Egypt, especially in technical areas such as embedded systems, providing end-to-end solutions, starting from assessing the talent, delivering a customized learning journey, guaranteeing a top-paying job, and then supporting um, the graduates in their career. I would like to start first with some questions, and then you can share any questions you want to. Okay. So, Mr. Bazara, one important keyword which was mentioned is end-to-end solution. Could you please explain to the audience how Sprint is different from other conventional edtech platforms?
Sure. So first for Embedded Meetup community for hosting me. Thanks a lot for this privilege, and hopefully it would be a useful webinar. Maybe we have two keywords actually when we talk about sprints. First is end-to-end, and another keyword that we use a lot is holistic. Both of them are combined. Or they complement each other. So first, starting with when we say end-to-end, we mean that from the learner perspective, who's in our case the person that would like to join the technology field, that we are with him or her throughout his or her career journey. For instance, I am a university student and I want to explore which technology field that I would like to join in after graduating from the university. So we are there to provide some learning programs that can help in the awareness level and kicking off your first technology career, and helping even the university student through an internship, for instance, by the end of our program. Then after graduating, we have the guaranteed hiring boot camps where you can join one of our boot camps and then get placed into one of the top tech companies working in the technology field. And then after joining this company, we can help you to upskill your skills so that you can advance in the career. So we are one place that can serve the curious learner from being a university student, starting from zero till advancing and reaching seniority level at the company. The same applies to the employer side and the business side. We are also offering an end-to-end service where if the employer wants to hire a top talent, we are there to support the employer. If the employer would like to assess calibers to pick the best, we are there. If the employer would like to upskill the employees, we are there. So we are also, when it comes to talents, we are also offering an end-to-end service to the employers. Holistic is another keyword where we offer our offering or our service to cover all the required gaps that the learner has. So for instance, we are the only platform that start actually any journey with an assessment to identify exactly why this person is not employable. And most of the reasons of not being employed is multiple actually skill set and competences. By identifying these gaps and communicating this to the job seeker, he or she now knows what is missing, and actually he or she can work independently outside sprints to work on the gaps and get employed at the end. Or he can join sprints, one of the sprints programs, so that we upskill the person and place him at the end. So what is meant by holistic is it's an inclusive journey, end-to-end journey that covers technology, business, and interpersonal skills that may prevent person from being employed. So it's not only about technology upskilling, but it's also business and interpersonal skills. So for example, we work on storytelling, we work on communication skills, customer interaction. Even if you work as a freelancer, how you can win, you write proposal and negotiate hourly rates, or on fixed cost mode, how you can negotiate the terms. We talk about the quality and excellence, how you can ensure the quality on all of the deliverables that you perform, how you write emails, how you engage in conference calls. So it's not only about technology skills, it's every skill set and competency that can prevent you from being employed.
Okay, thank you very much for this comprehensive answer. I would like to highlight that it's mentioned that the typical journey at sprints will enable the trainee to have a simulation for the work environment, including exchanging emails and delivering projects and many soft skills, let's say, um, which is not just offered by conventional other platforms.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in terms of the experience that we have, it's a project-based experience where learners every week they have a deliverable that they need to deliver to a customer. It's a business simulation customer. So it's not a real customer. It's someone who acts like a customer. And by end of every week, learners receive a feedback on their deliverables to know how they can improve their capabilities and to know where their gaps are. And also work in a team-based mode. This is also not happening in other platforms. We work on a team-based mode so that learners are working together throughout the challenges that they face, and they actually give feedback to each other on weekly basis so that learners know how they can improve their team working skills, their collaborative mood, their giving attitude, and so on. And finally, at the different stages that you have, the gaps that we identify at the beginning, you know how you are evolving as a future employee, and when you can be employable and when you cannot, because if you don't work with a complete focus throughout the journey, you may not evolve as a future employee as we expect. So also you will receive a kind of a regular feedback so that you can improve. So again, we are focused on employment. No, we're not focusing on just some knowledge building. We are trying to make the shortest journey for you to get employed, and our success factor is to make you employed by the end of the journey.
Okay. Comparing sprints today to that in 2019, what are the achievements you are most proud of, and what are your plans as CEO of sprints to expand?
Okay, so when we started sprints, we had the vision of try. I mean, it's easy to to deliver a high quality education on a small scale, but it's extremely difficult to deliver a high quality learning journey or an education on a global scale or a huge scale, I would say, or a big scale. Until today, I cannot say that someone hacked this challenge. I mean, you can see very high quality learning journeys happening on very small scale, and you can see very big platforms that are serving millions, but there is no real impact, and the completion rates, the most famous edtech platforms now, completion rates is around 4 to 5% of the journey. So it's not engaging. And I always like to give the example of that these platforms were created actually by professors, and some of the most famous platforms are actually created by professors at university. So actually it's designed for the alpha student persona. So the person who can stick to a curriculum for 3 months and studying alone individually on a screen and finish this is only less than 1% of the population. Most of the people doesn't learn this way. People like to get interaction, like to work in project-based mode, like to work in teams. So these platforms are not successful so far due to the lack of engagement and the lack of measuring the impact. So why I'm joining this learning journey for an objective, and most of the platforms that is working here on this don't make this kind of why I'm joining this learning program. And if it is employment, I want to focus on this. If it's career advancing, I want to focus on this. So it's not working on the impact level or what's the end in mind when it comes to the learner objective. And also the integrating or the integration of the non-tech related aspect, this is also lacking behind. So when we started, we wanted to tackle an end-to-end experience, holistic experience, and to measure the impact on employment in all our programs, and to hit hard on trying to achieve the maximum employment rate and try to serve millions on this model. And this is what we have been trying to do since the beginning. So our program started with the guaranteed hiring bootcamps, where you can pay after being hired over 3 years. We expanded on this sector, and now, alhamdulillah, we are serving Egypt government on national scale, Egypt Forward, where we are training tens of thousands of learners and employing them by the end of the journey. We are doing the same with Saudi Arabia. We're doing the same with the United Arabic of Emirates. We are kicking off the same initiative in Jordan as well. And next month we'll start in Nigeria as well. So we are trying to scale this program across countries, and we are always trying to focus on countries where there are many youth graduating from universities, but there is a huge gap between the university and the market. So this is the first thing that we are proud of, that we were able to close governments on the bootcamp level, where it is I would say the employment journeys. Second thing we are proud of, that we closed the biggest corporates. I mean, we are upskilling the employees of the biggest corporates. I don't want to mention names for confidentiality reasons, but top tech companies in the region now, we are upskilling their employees. Even governments, we are upskilling the government's employees themselves on multi-front or multi-countries. This is also something that we're extremely proud of. Finally, we accredited our programs to be part of the curricula of multiple universities. And the aim of this, that instead of wasting your time in 4 or 5 years degree, and then you discover as a youth that you are unemployable and need to join one of our boot camps to get employed, we integrate our programs as part of the university curricula, so that students actually can work immediately after graduation. And actually we have programs that employ people while they are in universities even, so that people get employed even in parallel to their education. We call it the 1-year internship program, where they graduate from one of our program, and we match them or place them in a long-term internship to work as part-timers as well. Finally, our platform. Now we have our own platform that is serving thousands of people. When we started the sprints 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago, our one cohort only had 20 people. Now we have one cohort, one specialization, almost 500 people. So we are scaling and we are trying to help as much as possible learners throughout our journey.
And then speaking of expansion and scaling on geographical level and institutional level, how could that reflect on the requirements of the provided service For instance, the language of the courses, maybe some special tailoring needed for integrating sprints courses with academic courses.
Okay, so most of the countries that we have deployed our program in is Arabic-speaking countries. Our first deployment would be in English language, would be in Nigeria. And we don't see this as a great, how you say, challenge, because most of the technology topics are actually use English terms. So you just need to deliver your live sessions, because all of our programs have live session interactive component. We have the projects, and always the projects is written in English. Our platform is in English. I mean, the live session would need just to turn completely into English, and our experts are actually more than capable to deliver the sessions in English. So we don't see a problem when it comes to the English barrier. Regarding the academic trainers or academic instructors, we don't prefer to work with academic instructors because we'd like to position ourselves as being market driven. We'd like to have people in Google and Facebook and so on to come and give our to work in our live sessions. But again, we don't want to repeat the challenges of the universities where there is a complete disconnection between the university and the market. So we'd like always to have experts from the market helping students to get employed. The only exception would be where we have some programs are research based, I would say, like AI and machine learning and so on. And here we sometimes have a blended mood to have some professors who have market experience. This is actually the best setup to have the research, the R&D arm, I would say. So research and development as well. This might be the best when it comes to some of the topics that we have that has a kind of a research pillar, not only development or programming.
Thank you. And can we get back to year 2019? Because there was a great challenge there when Sprints was launching the COVID-19 outbreak. Could you share with us some lessons learned from the challenge of launching Sprints in the middle of COVID-19 outbreak?
Okay, so when we launched Sprints, we had the vision of going to blended learning. Blended learning is actually utilizing the benefits of offline physical delivery of learning programs as well as online programs. It doesn't make sense to have a trainer from Google, for instance, or Facebook, and coming to join one of our boot camps every week, and he doesn't have the I would say the capacity to do this. So getting the best of the two worlds, the offline physical face-to-face delivery, as well as the expertise where they can record. We have multiple studios that people can record high quality content so that the learners can utilize, and the project-based delivery part where learners work in groups to be able to deliver the required projects, which is we simulate the business environment where you are at your employer or at your company. You never have a trainer or instructor that baby sit you or spoon feed you. So we wanted from day one to have this blended experience. The problem with COVID that when COVID hit us, we couldn't rely on the physical part. And also our first cohort was embedded system boot camp. So we had actually boards that we were utilizing in our labs. So we had to switch completely to online mode, and this was extremely challenging due to the hardware component. But again, when I reflect back on this, I would say it impacted us very positively because now we are completely online, serving tens of thousands of people in our programs. If we were delivering only physically, it would never had this growth speed and impact. Uh, so thanks to COVID and again, it was troubling at the beginning or challenging, but now I would say it helped us a lot.
Okay, thank you. Um, I think we now will have to shift to the automotive embedded systems industry discussion. And maybe a quick look on the ecosystem of such industry. Um, what are the gaps that needs to be filled? Um, Maybe on academic level, on training level. What sprints could offer to this ecosystem?
Okay, so I believe actually in being market driven, and I know Ahmad, you are working in one of the top automotive companies in Egypt, and if you remember Scrum or Agile, it's always say I will start by the customer and be customer centric, and mainly Agile or Scrum mainly said that the customer should be part of the development cycle itself, and we should deliver to the customer in a repetitive, iterative, and seeking feedback. Actually, this is not done, unfortunately, by the current educational system, whether schools or universities, and this is why most of the youth graduate unemployed. Uh, why this? Because it's a very long journey. I mean, to finish school plus university, it's almost 18 or 19 years. And you measure the impact by the end, and you discover the disaster by the end. So I do believe that the main thing that has to be done is connecting the industry with the educational institutes, and to ensure that what the academia and either academia or even edtech startups or even training centers, whatever the educational institute is, there should be a kind of connection between both parties. And I have seen this done. So to share the half of the cup that is filled, for instance, we are working in collaboration with the Ministry of IT and Communication in an initiative called Egypt Forward. And what we have done, because we have done this in all of our curricula, before launching any program, we go to the employers and ask them, what do you want to have in our curricula? What are the requirements that you want in our grads? And after graduating our grads, we take feedback how we can improve. So it's all, if you work an agile way, you will always succeed. The problem with universities that they don't work in an agile way, they are completely disconnected between the university and the market. And this is that what needs to be shifted. I do believe universities has to be connected with the employers, and to do this, I do believe that curricula has to be approved or reviewed by companies, and this could be through board, having a board. And I have seen some universities actually have nominees from companies who are in the board, advisory board of the university itself, so that they can review the content and give feedback. The thing that I really advise universities is to utilize technology. Now you can see very good curricula available. They can really integrate in the university to get their, their youth or grads opportunities, more opportunities to get employed. So increasing this kind of courses to be part of the curricula, the university curricula, and this content has to be already approved. And this is what is the case, approved by the market. By this, you increase the possibility of the youth be employable. Final thing is regarding the market side. I do believe the market side has to offer more internships, and I really advise the long-term internships. I mean, you are a company, you can take people in the third year degree, fourth year degree, and have them work for you for a year. Companies doesn't like to give internships, short internships, because it is a headache for the company. I won't benefit from someone if he work or she work 1 or 2 months with me. But if it's 1 year, actually, it's very useful. And I have done this throughout all the companies I've worked with, and actually, it was amazing experience that I highly recommend for the market companies itself, or the automotive companies, where they can have tens of people working on an internship mode to work on products, work on services, whatever. And they will be supervised, and sure you will receive a value by the end of the journey. Also, having experts from the company to support the education institutes to get their curricula updated, to support and even can get some conduct some sessions in the industry to ensure that this connection is being happened. So there is a responsibility on the educational sector and there is a responsibility on the market sector, and both has to collaborate so that we can graduate top calibers. And again, the national initiatives is very important for companies. You have Egypt Forward, supported by ITIDA. You have ITI, and also being connected with ITI. By this, you also ensure that when the government are investing in one area, really the return investment would be meeting the expectations of the companies, especially that now in the challenges of the foreign currency and the inflation all over the world, it's important and really governments are focusing on helping the tech companies, especially in the automotive field, to grow. So actually, you will see people or governments are listening to the feedback coming from the companies. For instance, the curricula that we have in Egypt Forward, we received feedback from multiple companies and we iterated and improved the curricula. So this is something that I really encourage companies to do. And also, companies can reach out to us as Sprints, because we are actually coordinated a lot of work, especially in the embedded systems part and automotive part. Whatever feedback that they have, they want graduates with specific level. We actually have hundreds of people that are ready to get hired immediately. You just need to connect with us, and we will source the right calibers to them.
Okay, thank you. And for these gaps and discussed ecosystem, the main player in the Egyptian automotive embedded systems market is or are tier 2 suppliers. I think we have only one tier 1 supplier R&D center here in Egypt. So the question is, which gaps are still existing that prevent tier 1 suppliers or even OEMs from allocating the business to Egypt?
Okay, so before going to this question, because it's a tricky question, I would like also to stress on the importance of the job seeker himself, or the person that want to join the automotive field or the embedded systems field. There are gaps that are currently not served by the educational institutes. For instance, the non-tech related aspects. For example, all these companies search for someone who can interact with customers. So he has to have very good English. He has to have a very good presentability. He has to have a good English listening skills. So there are some parts that, and also has to be someone who can work in international cultures. So, and this is one of the key reasons for rejections. I mean, a lot of people who apply for companies, they are got rejected because they are not a good fit. They cannot work with different cultures. They cannot work with international exposure. I cannot trust this person to go internationally and to represent the company on their sites. So this is also something other than the technical aspect. This is a responsibility of the person himself or herself to get employed at that. Going back to your question regarding what is missing, actually, I can see a huge opportunity. Now, many companies are opening in Egypt, and even on tier 1 aspect, I know multiple companies that are exploring the possibility to open offices in Egypt. And I'm not talking about only the automotive or the embedded system. Even in the technology domain, some companies are opening, and those companies work in automotive and non-automotive projects. So I can see a huge trend to open in Egypt. And also with the devaluation of the currency, Egypt will become much more attractive with the initiatives like Egypt Forward, ITI, and so on. This will make the market much more attractive with the support of the government. Now there are incentives for companies that are opening in Egypt. For example, there is a kind of a rebate program where the government can give back some of the revenues or subsidies to the companies, whether it's part of the taxes that they may pay, it can be returned, or for every new headcount or an employee that you hire, you get a kind of incentive. So there are a lot of incentives that actually the government is supporting new companies to open. And of course, you can contact me for more details or even access ITDA directly website and contact them. But again, I can see finally that there is a huge growth and really by sourcing the right talents, and if these companies really hire the best calibers, they will grow automatically, and we may see tens of thousands of people in Egypt working in the automotive field. So I would say that the gaps now is much less. I do believe really what is challenging here is that these companies would like to have management, and here I'm not talking about only people management, project management, also technical management, to be able to rely on to expand their offices. So I do believe that there is a huge opportunity for people who already traveled to Europe, US, to come back and help in building these companies. This is a great opportunity, I would say, and I have seen multiple people actually returning because this is the right time to have the right talents to grow companies. You need people who are great at people management, business management, project management, technical management. Again, the success of any organization, it's all about management. I do believe in this. And of course, the youth that are coming. But again, you cannot blame someone who's junior on the failure of the company. It's always the management responsibility. So I would say also having the right leaders and managers who can really help in making these companies succeed. I would say, for example, the biggest tier one supplier, when it opened in Egypt, I would say the biggest success goes to the management, really, and the first employees that who were hired. They were able to get things done and building the trust with multiple stakeholders, customers, partners, and so on, so that now they are at this size and with this success. Without the right management and the first key employees, failure, you will be doomed, and of course you will fail.
Thank you very much for your answer. I think I have asked all the questions I wanted to ask. Maybe we could move to the audience. Okay, we have got question from Nuruddin Mahmoud. He is asking for advice for junior students. Maybe a general advice.
Hello, Ahmed.
Hello, Ayman. I
Yeah,
think
sorry.
the connection was lost for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, I was sharing Nuruddin Mahmoud question. He was asking for advice for junior students. Maybe a general question.
Okay.
Advice.
Yeah. Okay, so my advice mainly for students who are still studying or who haven't finished their university degree is to work. So starting tomorrow, apply for an internship in any of the startups, I would say, or the small tier twos. Actually, send an email or LinkedIn message to the HR as well as the founders or the CEO, the managing directors, and tell them that I would like to work for a 1 year as an intern, and I'm not looking for money now or salaries. You can pay me when you see that I deliver a value, and try to stick with in parallel to your study to work. And this is the best experience that I would advise anybody. And again, to highlight that I want to work for 1 year is critical because they won't accept an internship if it's 1 or 2 months. But if you are telling them that I'm there for you for a complete year, I commit for this, I do believe any company that would like to optimize cost, that would like to benefit from the high energy that any young student have should accept this. I know that you need to send many messages, but again, I do expect that you will find an opportunity at the end. Second thing, that if you couldn't do this, is to have this kind of exposure. For me, try to work any kind of work. So if it is not automotive, I would really advise try to have any kind of exposure so that your non-tech related aspects develop. And when I say non-technology related, I would say actually how you communicate, how you listen, how you present, that quality of your work. Any work that you work in, they will focus on your quality, and 99% of graduates, unfortunately, they don't focus on quality. مفهوم إتقان العمل is not there, unfortunately. So I do believe any kind of exposure and experience is relevant and would be helpful, even if it's not in the automotive field. It might be a programming field. It might be even something that is not, even student activities in the university, engaging yourself, and this kind of exposure will help you a lot. A second advice would be the problem solving skills and root cause analysis skills, because any interview, it's all about putting you in front of problems, and they would like to see your thought process. So unfortunately, most of the thinking process and the problem solving skills are not well developed because you didn't have this kind of real exposure. For instance, any problem that you solve normally have missing inputs. And it's very important. It's not like the exam that you have at school or university where all inputs are there. In any work context or professional context, there were always missing inputs. So it's all about asking the right questions, searching for the answers, and then providing how you can solve this problem. So again, I would like to advise on topics related to problem solving skills, root cause analysis. And again, exposure and work will help you to develop these skills. And plus, there are platforms that help in problem solving, of course. Point would be the English skills. And again, the top two reasons for someone not getting employed is actually problem solving skills and English skills. So I really advise you to develop your English skills so that you can speak naturally without any problem. And this is something that you can really easily do in parallel to your study at the university.
And I think this also answers the question from Islam Muhammad about if there is a requirements for getting an internship. So as Mr. Bazaraa mentioned, I think main idea is soft skills in problem solving in English language.
Yeah, and again, having internships in your CVs will help you a lot in landing a job when you graduate, Ahmed. So it is really helpful. I mean, if I see someone graduating and have 1 or 2 years of experience in parallel to his or her study, actually, this is a clear hire. This is someone who's resilient, hard worker, curious to learn, proactive, because he or she takes initiative to learn in parallel to the study. So again, having this kind of long-term internship or parallel working, and actually now it's coming more and more common to have people working while they are studying, especially in non-engineering schools, because the engineering is very heavy study. But if you go to business and other and most of the, not most, many students actually work in parallel to their study. So again, I really advise to work. It's not only about internships, and don't ask for payment at the beginning. And I don't like the victim mentality, where I can see it a lot on social media and so on. I have actually a saying that most probably the common how can I say advice is actually not correct advice. So you can see on some social media groups, okay, don't work for without paying you. They will use you for their benefits. Employers are, and a lot of advices are actually coming from people who are unemployed. So again, try to see what is good for you and just act. and really try to seek advice from people who are experienced, not people who are actually facing the same challenges that you face as a student or a fresh grad. So I really advise people working, even unpaid for a short period of time. Any company who is respectful will get you paid after the second or third month if they see a value. But again, when you approach them by telling them I can work for free at the beginning or as an unpaid internship, and after I deliver value, you can pay me. This is a good message that someone who has a budget, because any company has a budget, would see someone proactive, someone who's willing to learn, someone who's willing to to help the company and interested in the company. Most probably, you will receive a good answer if you contacted multiple companies.
And for the next question, it's more related to the next level of seniority for seniors and mid-seniors. So Ahmed is asking how to be qualified, not just getting the title, but how to be in the core qualified senior or mid-senior.
Okay, so my advice here, actually, I would like to reflect on real experiences. I have worked with people who had the same exact experience. So I would say people working on the same project in the same team, and I can see someone who's the knowledge and the competences that this person has compared to the other person, I would say 3x and 4x. So, and what is the difference between both people? One person is actually curious. And I mean by curious that he cannot see a keyword, a word that he listened to in a meeting, a word that he reads in a document in the project, an issue that has been resolved even by a colleague without digging deeper to understand the bigger context. So if someone says this word, I need to search and understand what is this word. If there is a document and this document refers to the other document that I haven't read, I go and read the other document. If there is an issue that is resolved, I need to understand why it's resolved and how I can resolve similar questions, similar issues. So for me, I would highly recommend to be curious and always to invest the right time to continuously develop yourself. And any company that you are working with, there are documentations for the project specs, for the standards that you are working on. For example, if you work in AutoZar, you have thousands of documents there. You can dig deeper whenever you want. So the access for information is there. You just need to dedicate the right time. And on weekly basis, I would say you need to dedicate time to investigate and continuously learn. And not only in automotive, actually in whatever topics that is interesting for you. And I would say it will be very hard at the beginning, Ahmed Lamir, actually, who asked this question. It will be really hard at the beginning to put this kind of, I need to investigate what is the meaning of diagnostic module in AutoZar. I need to search and see the specs and read and understand and so on. So it will be hard at the beginning. But if you every week dedicate 30 minutes, in 1 month you can dedicate 1 hour, dedicate 2 hours, and again you can increase the amount of time you spend in learning new things gradually until this will become a habit. When I have started this, I mean years ago, actually it was very hard for me. And actually, I started this habit to always learn on a regular basis because I have seen people doing this. I have seen people who would never accept to hear a word that they don't understand what is it. And when you talk with these people, you feel that they are scholars. I mean, موسوعيين, I would say in Arabic. So you can speak in whatever topic, and they will be able to have a dialogue with you and would be very knowledgeable. And actually, because they are curious learners. So for me, do it until it will become a habit. And just reflecting on me, many years ago, I really didn't invest any time in developing myself on weekly basis. Now on daily basis, actually, I spend almost 2 hours either reading, either studying, either watching content that is relevant and would develop my skills. So actually, and I'm obsessed with this. I mean, it became an obsession to learn. So I do believe it once you do it many times, you really enjoy it. Similar to the gym, it's very hard for in the first day, first week, first month, but again, you will really enjoy the sports that you are doing.
Thank you very much. I think time flies, especially when you have a great time with a charismatic personality like you, Mr. Bazaraa. So I think if you have any final statement for this webinar or interview.
Okay, so maybe a final advice here. I would say that I can see one of the key competitive advantages of Egypt now, that there is a footprint for the automotive industry. And I can see a huge potential for this sector to grow. Now we have thousands of people working in the automotive field. If you go 10 years back, or I mean, there were a few hundreds. So now we are becoming very attractive for new companies to open, whether it's local companies or international companies. And self-development, whether it comes to the current youth or current talents in the companies to develop, similar to Ahmed Al-Amir question and so on, how I can develop myself. And for the young talents or the fresh grads, how can I join this field? It will become more competitive, so you need to invest more in yourself, and you really need to be highly qualified and a dream hire for any company. If you are good, you will be. It's extremely easy process to get hired. If you are an average or below average, it will be an extremely hard process for you, because again, companies are looking for the best calibers in the market. So I would say it's the right time to invest in yourself and dedicate the right time and to focus your energy on your gaps. I can see people who are taking advanced topics that actually is not required by employers. And again, there are very crucial gaps that would get them unemployed. For example, CV that is a mess. For example, English skills that is a mess. Problem solving skills that is a mess. So again, for me, back to basics, get your foundation, build your foundation, and then you can go to the advanced topics. But don't go similar to ثانوية عامة style, that what are the questions and answers that the interview would ask me, because this will make you fail. And even if you pass one of the interviews, however, I really doubt this, you will fail at your work 100%. And I have started to see messages like this, that people are already joined companies and there is a poor performance. So again, try to invest in yourself, and if you are really a great caliber, you will get your opportunity. I can confirm this 100%. I can also reflect on myself. Whenever I focus on myself and developing my skills, I always see the reward come.
Again, thank you. On behalf of the community, I would like to thank you for this enlightening interview and for taking the time to be with us today. And I would like to thank everyone and apologize for not being able to handle all the questions due to the schedule.
Thank you,
Thank you
Ahmed,
very
very
much.
much. Thank you for Embedded Meetup for hosting me again. Thank you for interacting and your great questions. Again, I'm available on LinkedIn. If anyone wants to ask the question directly to me, just contact me on LinkedIn. I'll try to answer all questions. So I'll be happy to help anybody in improving and upscaling or hunting the best career opportunity.